Welcome back to another tabletop review. Today we'll take a look at the third video in a four-part series on dry fire training at home, dry fire range simulation systems. As I said, this is the third in a four-part series on dry fire training at home. We began with the easiest and least expensive level, the laser training cartridge. In the second video, we looked at reactive and interactive laser target systems. Now in this third video, we'll be looking at what I consider the third and highest level of dry fire training solutions, range simulators. iMarksman, Point Blank, and the Smokeless Range simulators are three of the more popular systems available. I encourage you to check out all of the systems you can before you buy. However, since there's no doubt as of today, the Smokeless Range simulator from Laser Ammo is the #1 personal use range simulator system out there. It is the Laser Ammo Smokeless Range simulator system that will be the primary topic of this review. Also, while there are a bunch of expandable add-ons available for the Smokeless Range, we'll be focusing primarily on the base system. If you're an avid gun enthusiast, I expect that you have occasionally fantasized about having your own shooting range. If you're fortunate enough to own your own range, the cost of ammo, targets, and upkeep may still give you occasion to consider how you could save a few bucks. For me, I have several good ranges available to me. One even has its own laser simulated range option available with some pretty good video training scenarios. 1 hour access costs about $20. Targets and ammo are an additional cost. Accessibility is good, but not guaranteed. All require a bit of travel. The best range is the farthest away. In the end, a visit to the range will run me from about $60 to $150 depending on how much ammo and fuel I use. If I visit a range once a month, I can easily spend more than $1,000 a year in range costs. Now don't get me wrong, I feel that practice and live ammo range training is essential if you carry, but cost and time are also a reality for most of us. A good supplement to our training is dry fire training. If done properly, dry fire training can offer a realistic alternative, and in some cases dry fire training can actually enhance your skills beyond what shooting paper targets can provide at a conventional range. So let's imagine a dynamic shooting range in your own home available to you on your schedule. But let's also imagine that your personal range can provide a whole host of challenging scenarios. The base system of the Smokeless Range 2.0 system includes 10 exercises: bomb blast, can toss, dueling tree, target shooting, trap shooting, match target drill, moving target drill, speed drill, tracking drill, and transitional drill. An additional cost, the system can also be expanded to include an open range, IPSC challenge, game range, and realistic video scenarios, and much more. By the way, it should be noted that regarding the other systems I mentioned, the Point Blank and iMarksman systems, in my opinion, are more gaming systems than range systems, but they're actually pretty good options. iMarksman is similar to the Smokeless Range, with a base package selling for about $700.
Stop right there! Get your hands up! Get your hands up! Freeze! Freeze!
If you really prefer game scenarios over range targets, you should really take a good look at the Point Blank system. However, the Point Blank simulator will cost you about $365 for their minimum system, plus a minimum monthly fee of $35. Of course, you can always add add-ons to the Smokeless Range system, such as the game range for about $300, or the realistic video scenario packages, about $900. The Laser Ammo Smokeless Range 2.0 basic package includes downloadable software and a standard throw high-speed camera required for the operation of the system for about $600. If you're an NRA instructor, you can save a few dollars. And if you need a short throw camera, it'll cost you a few more bucks. Also, expect to pay about $100 at a minimum for an infrared cartridge for use in your firearm. If your firearm is not double single action, having to cock the hammer or charge the slide for each shot will become old real quick. There's a solution for that, which I cover in the 4th video in this series. Now, I wish that was all you needed, but it's probably not. You'll also need a computer that can run the simulation software. Think gaming software. But most modern computers should be fine. I have found that my HP laptop works just fine. Also, you'll need a large flat screen TV with anti-glare film, or even better, a good projection system. I started out with our 50-inch TV. It was okay, but I really wanted a larger projection. I found my old Amazon mini projector wasn't adequate to the task at all, just not bright enough. Fortunately, my wife wanted a better projection system for our movies. So in the end, I bought a ViewSonic PA503 WDLP projector for about $450. Works great. I also decided to invest in a good widescreen pull-down, which cost about another $50. Since I decided to do an overhead installation of the projection system, I also needed to spend another $50 in hanging brackets and extension cabling. Now, if you've been counting, that's a total of about $1,250, which includes the software standard high-speed camera, one infrared 380 cartridge to fit my everyday carry SIG P232, a projecting screen, brackets, and wiring. I didn't include the computer in this basic system cost. Okay, that sounds like a lot, but the installation is unobtrusive and the system works perfectly. Setup took a few tries, and the Laser Ammo has a pretty good setup video, which if you follow their directions, it should get you up and running without problems. Also, the people at Laser Ammo are friendly and very helpful. Now you might be thinking, how can I really say $1,250 is a great price? Well, I should mention that about 8 years ago I purchased a range simulator for a cadet training program I ran. It was a sophisticated system with quite a few videos, scenarios, and additional add-ons. There were also about a dozen recoil enabled laser training firearms included. The total price tag was over $30,000 for the entire system, and it was a good system. Even our local law enforcement used our equipment for their training. So for me, in comparison, I'd say for the money, this Smokeless Range standard basic system is really pretty good at a good price. Let's take a look at the basics of setting up the Smokeless Range system. As I mentioned earlier, Laser Ammo provides a pretty good instructional video. In brief, it's primarily a process of setting up the camera and TV or projector. Calibrating the camera is actually something completed by your computer and software automatically. You can, in the setup screen, choose to brighten or darken the projection. Calibration is done automatically. Your computer should configure everything for you. You can also check your gun's accuracy. Taking a look at the setup for the individual drills, we'll just review a few of them, starting with bomb blast. You can set up for 1 or 2 players, the size of the targets, and the number of targets. Most of the drills can be set up for 1 or 2 players, and statistics are provided after each drill.
Are you ready? Stand by.
I'm just using my mouse as my gun for these demonstrations. The second drill is can toss. Basically just hit as many cans as you can within the allotted time. You can adjust for 1 or 2 players, the size and number of targets, and the style of toss.
Are you ready? Stand by.
Again, I'll just use my mouse. Again, statistics are provided at the end. Now we take a look at one more drill, the dueling tree. Pretty straightforward. Again, you can choose your settings. It's going to be a 1 or 2 player competition.
Are you ready? Stand by.
Again, some of these drills are better than others, and in my opinion they offer a fairly good assortment of challenges for a basic simulation range system. For me, the can toss, dueling tree, target shooting, and transitional drills are some of my favorites, and I use them more frequently than the other drills. And while these standard drills are pretty good, I'd like to continue to expand my options. Fortunately, Laser Ammo offers additional drill packages for their Smokeless Range system. Currently, one of the major reasons for the popularity of the Smokeless Range is the large number of add-on drills available. Currently, Laser Ammo offers 9 different add-on packages, and they even offer some combo purchasing packages, which could save you a few bucks. A couple of add-on drills that I'd like to add to my system are the Competitive Shooter Steel Challenge for about $300 and the Video Scenario Trainer for about $900. The requirements for setting up one of these systems in your home is viewed by many to be a real nuisance. These systems are light sensitive, and some have noted the challenge of blocking out natural lighting. Also, the space requirements can be a problem as well. Some complain about recalibration requirements when you start up the system, but obviously the biggest con for the Smokeless Range is its cost. If you already have a good projection system, or you're okay with the basic system and the use of flat screen TV, you already have a fairly up-to-date computer, then the cost for setting up a functional range simulator in your home with infrared cartridge for one gun be accomplished for as little as $700. But for many, that's still a lot. In comparison, the interactive target systems I covered in the previous videos cost as little as $100, and just equipping your gun with a basic laser training cartridge, as I covered in the first video in this series, could be done for about $35. You need to ask yourself if the cost of a range simulator like a Smokeless Range is really worth it. Another con is the fact that, as equipped, you still lack a bit of realism that comes from a recoiling firearm firing live ammo. As for pros, there's no doubt that a range simulator like the Smokeless Range, especially with a good video scenario package, can improve and help you maintain your skills. The convenience of a good range in your home means you're more likely to practice, and of course there's the cost savings to consider compared to live fire ranges. I practice frequently, so I estimate that I'm saving between $800 and $1,000 a year in range fees. I still go to live fire ranges, but just not as often. As I said earlier, if you're going to carry, I believe it's essential that you practice. Certainly, live fire training is important, but law enforcement and military professionals agree that live fire simulations can be a valuable supplemental training tool. And while we can argue about how much practice the average concealed carry citizen might need, most of us would agree that more is better than less, and most of us get less than we probably should. My family members certainly get more practice time overall than they did before I put this Smokeless Range into place. I also have some neighbors who live beyond the city limits who used to do more outdoor shooting, but they too have installed dry fire ranges to improve safety, reduce noise pollution, and save money on ammo. I like that there's basically no cleanup required. Also, the requirements in infrared laser for use on the Smokeless Range system eliminates chances of over-focusing on the red laser dot during training. One more obvious advantage of these simulators is the opportunity for realistic video training scenarios that would not be possible with real ammo. This would offer you lifelike self-defense and tactical training at a fairly high level. Pretty cool. Now this is where I usually ask you again to be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And I hope you found this video useful. Thanks for watching. As for the Smokeless Range itself, some are not impressed with the level of drills that come with the standard system. Personally, I think they're okay, and also I think that they make sense to make the entry system as affordable as possible. Of course, I think the add-ons look much better, although they do come at additional costs. So the Smokeless Range is not a cheap range simulator, and the cost can really climb up there depending on your needs and expectations. If you want realism, you can add the video scenario training system. If you're more interested in gaming scenarios, then there's the iMarksman system. Pretty good alternative. Certainly compared to less expensive dry fire training options, these systems could be difficult to justify based upon your personal needs and abilities. The good news is that indeed, if you can't afford or justify this level of dry fire training, there are pretty good, more affordable alternative systems available, like I covered in the first and second video in this topic. As for meeting my personal needs, I think this Smokeless Range simulator by Laser Ammo was well worth its cost, but granted, if you're not convinced that you need more training and practice, then it would probably be hard to justify. I'll admit that I'm looking forward to adding more realistic and challenging video scenarios to my system in the future, but for now, this system is entertaining and challenging enough, and I can honestly say my skills continue to improve. And before I expand my system, I think I'd like to advance to a Recoil Enabled Laser Training Firearm for a more realistic experience, which is the topic of my next video in the Dry Fire Training series. So I encourage you to stay tuned and check it out in my next review on Recoil Enabled Training Pistols. Until then, any weapon you carry is better than the one you left at home. Thanks for watching. Hope you'll be back for my next tabletop review. Until next time, stay safe.